Hello, good afternoon. Welcome, friends and neighbors. This is Faisal Hassan, your member provincial parliament, joining you today at 5 p.m. Usually, we join you to hear your concerns and also answer some of your questions from 3 p.m. to 4. Those who are joining us from Facebook, Faisal Hassan NDP, welcome. Those also joining us Instagram, Faisal Hassan NDP, welcome. And also those joining us Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, welcome. And also YouTube as well, welcome. And before I begin, I wish to acknowledge at this time the land that we now know as York Southwestern is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, Métis people. Welcome, folks. Those who are joining YouTube, welcome. Ivan, welcome. Instagram, and also dear Colspit, welcome. And also welcome those who are also joining us, Facebook as well. Well, folks, a lot of things to talk about it. Looking forward to hear also your comments and questions as well from Instagram and also from Facebook as well. And this province has announced, the province rather has announced that it will begin entering stage 3 of the reopening plan this Friday. It was just yesterday, folks, July 16th. Dea Kalshap says, hello, Faisal. Thanks for your good work. Well, thank you very much. I'll continue to work hard to earn your trust and confidence. We need to have a government that you deserve. We had 15 years of liberal government that has let us down, and things are getting difficult. We don't have a rent control thing. No one can actually dream of owning a home or a community in which we grew up or born into. And now we have the last 3 years a conservative government, so it has been from bad to worse. We deserve better, folks, and definitely we need to have a change of God next year. Especially an NDP government will put you first. And your adherence to public health guidelines and your personal sacrifices and community vaccination are bearing fruit as we continue progress towards normality. Things are changing quickly, but there is still much work to do. Reopening remains a step on the path towards a full recovery, but we still need to ensure that we set the foundation for recovery that benefits every member of our community. And there are the restrictions have been lifted and modified this Friday, yesterday. I'll just go through quickly so you understand them. I know you already know them, but just to refresh your mind, limits for social gatherings and organized public events will increase to 25 people indoors and 100 people outdoors. Indoor religious services or ceremonies will be limited to number of people that can maintain 2 meters physical distancing. And retail, indoor dining and outdoor dining will also be limited to the number of people that can maintain 2-meter physical distancing. Establishments with dance floors will be limited to number of people that can maintain a physical distancing of 2 meters with a maximum capacity of 50% indoors and 50% outdoors. Personal care services can host as many patrons as can maintain 2 meters physical distancing and will now be permitted to offer services that require the removal of face covering. Facilities for sports and recreational fitness activities will reopen with capacity limited to 50% indoors and spectators limited to 50% of the indoor seating capacity for up to 1,000 people, and 50% of the outdoor seating capacity up to 10,000 people. Cinemas and museums and galleries aquariums and zoos, science centers, landmarks, historic sites, outdoor amusements parks, water parks, and gardens will be permitted to operate with capacity limited to 50% indoors and 50% outdoors. Well, folks who are just joining also Facebook, Ivan, welcome. Also, Ivan says, is this all? Is this all over the province? Yes, indeed, Ivan. And Anissa, welcome. Thanks for the great information. Thank you for your encouraging words, Anissa. And Frank Kotner, welcome. And Ivan says, hi, Ivan. Yes, it is provincial wide. Indeed, that's correct, Ivan. It's provincial wide. And that is, it's happening. Yes, this news is very welcome, folks, but we cannot afford to be complacent about COVID-19, about recovery, but public health guidelines remain in place and requires adherence to maintain control over variants of concern that requires 2 doses for full protection. We also know that businesses that are beginning to reopen are not out of the woods. Those that rely on tourism have been hit really hard by the pandemic. And also many businesses in our community are also struggling. They need support. We know also dry cleaners was not included in the support mechanisms because they were open during the pandemic, but their businesses was low. They have been struggling, and they also deserve support, as well as also businesses, taxi drivers that are also part of the tourism industry, hospitalities that has really bringing people and taking people into places, even though now they have a competition with Uber, they too have been struggling and they have not been included in this. So we need to also make sure they are also supported in that regard. Well, I think tourism, as you know, are in desperate need of help. My colleague, Wayne Gates of Niagara Falls, MPP Wayne Gates, has proposed a bill that would provide 1,000 tax credit for Ontarians to stay and play in Ontario this summer. The Travel Ontario tax credit would provide working families up to 1,000 in tax credits for tourism dollars spent in Ontario, including businesses like restaurants, campgrounds, museums, attractions, and more. This is a plan that would benefit families and businesses alike. I proudly support this effort and urge the government to act on it immediately so that we can begin setting the foundation for full recovery. And I know that the government also said, announced about travel tax credit, but their travel tax credit is not 100%. It's only 20%. So folks, if you spend $200, you will not be getting 1,000. You'll be getting, if you spend $1,000, you'll be only getting back about 20% of what the government is proposing. Our proposal is exactly 1,000 tax credit to support businesses, especially struggling businesses such as the tourism places like where my colleague MPP Wayne Gates represents, Niagara Falls and places like that. But also it helps every businesses, restaurants and others in our communities and many communities across the province to actually encourage people to go and spend. And if they do 1,000, then that's exactly what you will get back at the tax period. But the government's plan is only 20%, which means $200 only. Well, thank you, folks. Those who are joining me, you're joining Faisal Hassan NDP Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP Instagram, and Faisal Hassan my Facebook page. You can also you can also join me as well YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed my YouTube, please do so. So you can also able to see also the previous work I've done, the videos we have also recorded, the town hall meetings important to you. You can go back, you can listen them. It's a lot of information there, and that's also you can just subscribe it, or you can actually put my name, Faisal Hassan, there on YouTube, and you'll be able to access to those previous videos. But also by subscribing, also it gives you also inst- instant updates as well. So, well, thanks for joining me. As also, as I said, as of Friday, 78% of those 12 years and older or up had had one shot, and 50% were fully vaccinated. And that is encouraging news, folks. And we need to do more, of course. We need to do more, of course. And Dr. Moore, Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, has stated that pre-pandemic life could return as early as August 6th. You know, contingent on the following factors. This is what Dr. Moore stated. 80% of Ontario residents aged 12 plus are single vaccinated. 75 of Ontario residents aged 12 plus fully vaccinated. 70% of Ontario residents aged 12 and above or up are fully vaccinated in each of the provinces of 34 public health units. So these are the conditions, that we need to go back to the pre-pandemic life, and this can be done, folks. You have done so much so far, and I want to thank you for doing what you have done, the sacrifices you have made, and also we still need to be vigilant. We need still to be vigilant to make sure we get out of this together. Okay, folks. Yes. This past 18 months, our collective focus has been on COVID-19 and defeating this once in a generation pandemic. It has been a daily part of our lives and has created a new set of challenges that we have all been forced to reconcile with. The pandemic is far from over, but as we approach a new normal, we can begin to reconcile with some of the other challenges we are faced with as a community. The issue of climate change has not left us, folks, and continues, brothers and sisters, friends and neighbors, to be the greatest threat to the world is the climate and climate change. But this challenge comes with an enormous opportunity as well, and it is a chance to secure a future of our youth, protect our neighbors from the impacts of climate change, and usher in an era of green prosperity. The current government has not only ignored the importance of this, but they have also actively worked to oppose climate change. And you guys know that when it rains hard in our community, it floods our basements, and many members of our community have hit hard and no support have come. We have seen also the infrastructure when they have been also, they're saying they're going to fix it. They have been doing constructions, but still again, year after, that has not been supported our communities. And we also know that this government have attacked conservation authorities across the province and wrapped themselves up in costly legal battles against environmental groups and initiatives to combat climate change. Previous governments have not fared any better, missing countless opportunities to take real action and failing to respect the urgency of the issue. We are where we are today because of the decades inaction of liberal governments They had the last 15 years to do it right. They chose not to. They let us down. This government and the Ford Conservatives, they had so far 3 years to do it right, and they let us down. It is from bad to worse, folks. We cannot afford to continue on the same path of government complacency and expect to change our current trajectory. We need a plan that is bold and that is achievable, and a multifaceted approach that invests in combating climate change by investing in Ontarians. Recently, my leader, Andy Horvath, the official opposition leader, announced one of the world's largest building retrofit programs this week in Ontario, and it would rapidly reduce emissions from public sector buildings to achieve net zero emissions by 2030 and save taxpayer dollars in the process. It will institute new building code standards for new projects and invest in retrofits for existing buildings, saving ratepayers on energy bills. It will invest in a large scale job training program that develops the needed skill trades and create 100,000 new jobs by 2030. I look forward to sharing more about our vision in the coming weeks and months. And the other ways we can insist on new green economy that leaves no one behind, and exactly that leaves no one behind, and that's exactly what we need, folks, in this province: a government that puts people first and tackles the issue of climate, and climate change and climate crisis. We need hope, we need justice, and we need opportunities to move this province forward. And I talked about also many times about the challenges our small businesses are also having in our community. And those small businesses, they are really need help, and they need it now. There are those who are still to this day, many of businesses in our community have not gotten the first round, the second round of support, because to this day they're waiting support, and that's unacceptable. I have written to the Minister of the Small Businesses, to the Minister of Economic Development, to make sure that this is tackled. And I will continue to make sure those who are eligible, they are eligible, but they have not been delivered. This is the same story also. Many families who parents who have kids in school that were eligible to receive education support for their kids to this day have not gotten first and second rounds as well. And that's also a shame. And I'm still advocating on that through the ministry liaison and also the Minister of Education's office to make sure to look those cases as well. We also hear also I care to our seniors. This week I have received a huge petitions by members of our community, and I cannot wait to table these, because eye care is essential for us, as also a pharma care and dental care is. Many of you are having challenges, especially the seniors and elderly members of our community, and this is unacceptable. We can do it better, and NDP government will do it better to make sure we address this. And I thank you for sending those eye care petitions to my office. I have received them, and I'll be happy to table them, stand up at the legislature, and also read them, and also make sure we hold this government accountable, and to also ask them immediately to cover eye care, dental care, and pharma care as well, because this is also a holistic approach where we need healthcare to 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 include all those parts of our bodies and health, because it's important, and we need to do that exactly. But folks, just joining, welcome. And Ivan says quickly also, says This is excellent. 1 million jobs. Definitely, Ivan. We need to create jobs, jobs for the future. That's exactly what it is. And the NDP has always been concerned about the environment. We have been championing for our history, for the climate, for the also the environment, and we're happy to also implement a bold, achievable plan which my leader have also released. And I'll be also talking about this those components of it the coming weeks and months so that you understand them fully, before before you vote. And make sure also you can also go to OntarioNDP.ca. There you can also read our planned climate, jobs, and justice. And that's very important that we include all of that into the environment and the climate change and climate crisis in this regard. And I know that also many of you also have concerned about cannabis coming into the schools, near schools where kids are studying, and this is unacceptable. And especially in schools like in Kilsdale, parents have written to me, and I have wrote a letter to these people to stop it. To stop it, the legislature says so that do not open in schools in this cannabis. And thank you to members of the Kilsdale community and beyond who have expressed concerns with the proliferations of cannabis retail locations in the community. The government has made assurances through legislation that retail locations will not be located next to schools and will continue to insist that this commitment is honored and protected in our community. And if you are seeing any of those plans that are any schools, please let me know and organize to oppose this, because we don't want cannabis coming close into schools, or where kids are concentrated. It doesn't make sense at all. And we need to stop them to make sure that we send them a strong message now. And definitely, as you are a member of provincial parliament, I'll make sure that we stop them. Well, folks who are joining me from Instagram, welcome. And also those who are joining Facebook as well, my page Faisal Hassan NDP, welcome. And also Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, welcome. And also YouTube, welcome as well. And you are watching your member provincial parliament joining you every Saturday from 3 to 4. But this Saturday I had a conference that I was attending from 3 to 5, as a matter of fact. I have just left a little bit early to join you today at 5 o'clock. And we have said that I am committed listening your concerns and also making myself accessible to you in the pandemic. So this, we have been together for quite some time now, almost a year and a half, that I have been able to join you every Saturday since then to hear your concerns. If you have missed them, it's also on YouTube. It's also on my page. You can go back and you can also watch them as well. And also I thank you for joining every Saturday, for asking me questions and comments. And we'll see September, if we change from Saturday to Friday, perhaps, in the evening, where we could have, we haven't decided that, but also I want on your feedback on that, so that we can, instead of Saturdays, then maybe we could also make myself available to you on Friday evening, so that we could also hear your concerns and also continue to hear your important issues in the community. So we could also continue as we planned to start our lives as a pre-pandemic way, and then the office is not open. We are still planning to open it, but definitely we'll follow the rules, we'll follow the protocols, we'll make sure. And when we do that, I will definitely will let you know right away. But at the meantime, we're still working. We haven't stopped working. We're working on the phones, we're working on emails, and you can also send me email if you want to, Faisal Hassan hyphen co at ndp.on.ca. And if you want to reach me at the office to leave me a message, we'll be happy to get back to you. 416 243 7984. You're watching your member provincial parliament, Faisal Hassan. Thank you for joining. Also, folks, this week, Metrolink had also a town hall asking community members a feedback about their Eglinton Cross West Extension corridor. And thank you to community members who participated in the Eglinton Crosstown West Extension a live question and answers. Members of the community had an opportunity to ask questions about the extension and express their desire to see the elevated guideway converted to a tunnel portion. And I think that message also I have conveyed to them. I have asked them also how much it cost to do, to convert it to a tunnel portion of that, because we also have issues of environmental. They've been doing also soil testing there. There's also a large birds as well there and habitat there as well. So many members of the community on Emmet and Mount Dennis, they're concerned about this, and definitely that's very important that we make sure that the community's voices are heard. And Metrolink, we know that they have been promising many things in the past. We want them to make sure they do it right here as well. So hopefully that can be achieved as well. And I thank you folks for participating in that. And definitely I will be able to engage with them to bring your concerns to them as well, so that this can be done before the project begins. And I know that they're still also doing the environmental assessment, the soil testing that hasn't been reported to us yet. Definitely, we would like to know that, because we want also to maintain the habitat, the protection of the environment, and also making sure that also the birds and also Fegi Park is also there on Jane, and also Eglinton there as well. So folks who are joining are welcome. This is Faisal Hassan. You are a member provincial parliament for York Southwestern, and I've been joining you every Saturday from 3 to 4 to hear your concerns and also answer your questions as well. I know folks who are just requesting to view request in a live video. I won't be able to take that from Instagram, folks, but I'll be happy to, if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them, folks that are joining on Instagram. And I'm sorry that I have not been accepting inviting other folks to join me on Instagram live. So perhaps next time we'll be able to do that. And if you tell me ahead of time, then we might be able to arrange that. But definitely, if you have a question, I'll be happy to answer them. I'll be happy to also connect. You can also write to me, fhassan-co at ndp.on.ca, and my constituency office phone number at here 1965 Western Road is 416-243-7984. And welcome, folks. Also, folks, this week, my leader, Andrew Horvath, the leader of the official opposition, are committed to launching one of the world's largest building retrofit programs, a program which will create about 100,000 jobs and add roughly 15.2 billion to Ontario's economy and save people money every month. And that's an awesome plan, you know. And Andrew Horvath, my leader, the official opposition leader, made the announcement Wednesday in Woodstock in Ontario. The town of Woodstock has proposed deep energy retrofits programs for commercial, industrial, and residential buildings, along with improvements to new building standards. And Oxford County has an ambition 100% renewable energy plant there. Local leaders and the community are clearly doing their part and need the province to help instead of working against them. And this is very important. And the climate crisis is the greatest threat our world faces, folks. But friends and neighbors and brothers and sisters, but with how we respond to that crisis, we can create an incredible opportunity, said my leader, Andrew Horvath. Tackling the climate emergency is an opportunity to create skilled, well-paid jobs, lifelong careers for people. With the NDP building retrofit a program alone will create 100,000 permanent jobs by 2030 and get Ontario on track to be net zero by 2050, the year 2050. Well, my leader also, in that occasion on Woodstock, also said our children and grandchildren's deserve to have clean air, beautiful and safe lakes and farmland and secure future. That is why we have laid out the boldest, most effective climate plan Ontario ever had. And folks, if you haven't watched that announcement, you can go to and also read the entire plan, OntarioNDP.ca. And you know that the Liberals talked a good game on the environment. But in the last 15 years, they had the chance. Kathleen Wynne and Del Duca didn't tackle retrofits, lower people's monthly utility bills, or create a green jobs boom. Then Doug Ford launched his anti-environment crusade, gutting conservation authorities, waging expensive court battles to stop efforts to tackle the climate crisis, and even paying to have Ontario's electric vehicle charging stations ripped right out of the ground. And think about that. People deserve better. And buildings are the second largest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions in Ontario. Retrofitting them is a necessary part of achieving net zero emissions. But it will also make the monthly utility bills lower for people. This investment is going to pay off every single month. And programs includes the goal of retrofitting at least 5% of Ontario's buildings per year to be more energy efficient, and an NDP government will mandate that by 2030, all newly built public, residential, and commercial buildings confirm to net zero emissions. And it is estimated that every dollar invested in energy conservation generates $4 in economic activity. And that is, folks, a very important that we tackle the environment, and we have the plan, the vision, and the goals, achievable goals, folks. And please, if you haven't read them, you can check it OntarioNDP.ca. Please check it out. It's very important, And the Building Retrofit program is part of a major comprehensive platform, and my leader, Andrew Horvath, has released a called Climate, Jobs, Justice, and a Green New Democratic Deal. And that too, I have talked about many weeks and months since I've been joining you every Saturday. But I think this week, my leader has also detailed it, and I will also be talking about the coming weeks as well. Next week also, I'll be talking more about it as well. We also know seniors also who are living with a limited income are also struggling, folks. We need to support them, and this government have forgotten about seniors completely. And we have seen also their lack of leadership in terms of not allowing a public inquiry and looking into the long-term care and home care. And this is disaster, folks. And we cannot afford continuously, looking money on the backs of our seniors. And we will going to end that. And NDP government will make sure seniors are put first and foremost, and we'll put them front and center to make sure that we will end profit maximization on the backs of our seniors. And we've seen also what the military have revealed on the disaster in long-term care. And with these, with the new democratic deal, of course, the program will reduce emissions from the retrofit buildings through three distinct channels, folks. And that is public buildings. The NDP believes governments must lead by example and dramatically lower emissions from public buildings, including offices, hospitals, schools, colleges, universities, cultural facilities, and community centers. And Ontario NDP will work rapidly to reduce emissions from broader public sector buildings to achieve net zero emissions by 2030. Improving the energy efficiency of public sector buildings will save taxpayers at least 112 million a year and reduce emissions by 250,000 tons annually, while creating thousands of good jobs. Furthermore, a building code, while we retrofit existing buildings to be more energy efficient, we must also ensure that all new buildings are constructed as to be as energy efficient as possible. By 2030, New Democrats commit to ensuring that all newly built broader public sector, residential, and commercial buildings are built according to the highest standards of energy efficiency, operating at net zero emissions. And finally, also, private buildings by 2030, an NDP government will reduce emissions for residential and industrial, commercial, and institutionalized buildings by 50%. These changes will save the average residential ratepayer hundreds of dollars per year in reduced utility bills by 2050. All ICI buildings in Ontario will be retrofitted to operate net zero emissions. And my leader have released this platform commits to immediately implementing a large-scale job training program to ensure Ontario has skilled trades and professionals needed to achieve retrofit targets, simultaneously creating thousands of well-paying jobs. These programs will actively recruit and support communities and peoples underrepresented in the trades, such as women, blacks, and indigenous and people of color. And that's a very important, folks. If you haven't, folks, friends, brothers and sisters, and neighbors, if you haven't read it, please do so. You can visit ontariondp.ca. And those of you who are joining me Instagram, welcome. You're joining Faisal Hassan NDP, and also in Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, and also my Facebook page, Faisal Hassan NDP, and also YouTube. Also, if you haven't subscribed my YouTube, please do so. So you can also get also instant notifications. So you could also join us there if you don't have access to Facebook, if you don't have access to Instagram, and if you don't have access to also Twitter. Well, thank you, folks. I know that also many of you have written to me about the auto insurance. You know, it's a big issue in our community, and members of our community are being targeted because of where we live, because of our postal codes. And that's discrimination. It must end. Postal code discrimination. And as you know, our critic for auto insurance is Kevin Yard. Kevin Yard is a member of provincial parliament for Brampton North. He's my colleague, also a member of the Black Caucus for the very first Black Caucus that was created also in this province of Ontario in its entire history, you know. And I'm also proud to be a member of the Black Caucus. it was also the first time ever in any political party could elect rather enough members to form a caucus. And Kevin Yard from Brampton North is our official opposition critic for auto insurance. And definitely, we would also want to do a town hall meeting with him, and I will be able to share with you so that we could also hear his also perspective and how he's fighting at also in his community in Brampton and beyond there, but also in our own community here. We share many things with the GTA, and in the GTA, it is where it is heavily targeted, especially in our community. We are paying more for auto insurance, and also for the pandemic period since last year, cars were parked on parking lots, in the houses, and they haven't been driven to places. People were working at home, they were staying home, people were only going outside for essential things, and still people were paying the same auto insurance. They have not gotten a break, nor a relief. I know some of you have told me you have gotten some breaks. That's good news. But there are many of you who have told me that you have not gotten a relief. And I have asked, I have also put a motion about this to end postal discrimination, and also to make sure that we get relief in the pandemic period, because we need a break, and that break must happen now, because now is the time where cars are parked at home. People are not driving, but still we are paying high premium rates for auto insurance. This doesn't make sense at all. It's just another way of these companies are getting more money, and it's not acceptable. We ask them fairness, and we ask them to provide relief to everybody, not some people. We want everybody equally to receive that relief, and also postal code discrimination, because it should not be posted where I live, because that is discrimination. Also, auto insurance should only be based on the car I drive and my driving record, not what other people do, because I'm not responsible for your behavior. And this is also another things we need to look into this. And definitely, I'll be happy to invite my colleague Kevin Yard, MPP Brampton North, to join us. We will definitely let you know when that is going to happen, but it's something definitely we're working to have a town hall meeting. We also want to hear your questions. Also, we want to hear also your experience in that. If you have gotten some relief. I know some of you have gotten some relief, some have not. Certainly many of you told me you have not gotten. I'm still paying the same amount that I have been paying pre-pandemic. And many of you are the same as well. So as many of you say, this is not right, non injusto. It is not right. We need to fix this. Definitely. We will do, an NDP government will do it. We want fairness. We are not against the auto insurance making money, but they should not be discriminating. And that's against the law. To target people because of where we live, we pay more auto insurance than any other communities. And that's wrong. It's not working this, and we must fix it. Definitely. Those who are just joining, you're joining Faisal Hassan. You're a member of provincial parliament, and friends, neighbors, brothers and sisters, folks out there. I joined you every Saturday from 3 to 4, but this afternoon I had to attend a conference from 3 to 5. So we have decided, instead of canceling it, I have decided to join you 5 p.m. And I'm glad that you have made yourself also available to hear me and also to hear you also your concerns. And that also I thank you for joining us this afternoon as well. And definitely next Saturday we'll go back from 3 to 4. And also I want also your feedback also, because I think we need to also change Saturday. I'm thinking of doing it Fridays when we start September, as the house resumes. Uh, uh, um, September 13th. Definitely, I will let you know. We'll plan to do it Friday evening rather than Saturdays. And I want also your feedback in that as well. So let me know about that, what you think about it. Okay, very good. So I know many of you also have not gotten your shots as well. There are many pop-ups are happening, in the community. I know today and tomorrow. I do know that the community hub is also doing a pop-up at 1765 Western Road, and they're administering Pfizer. They're also Women's College is also doing it also in the community schools and the schools in the community as well. And also Humber River Hospital is also continuing. It's also providing a second doses in members of our community, because they also done that the first round of first shots, taking seniors into their homes. And we have been also proud to be in partner with them to facilitate and to work with them and to deliver those vaccines. And that will also continue. And definitely, we will also make sure that we also advocate more resources here in our community. And I think things are moving forward, but also it's also a good idea. Those who did not receive their shots, please do so. And I think it's important that you also get the knowledge and education. This is also good for you, for your health, and so forth. Okay. And I would like to also welcome Domenico. Welcome, Domenico, for joining me also Instagram. Welcome also Ayan for joining also Instagram, and also those who are joining Kalshale and Paul and Frank, and also and others also who are joining Facebook as well, and those also are joining Twitter and also YouTube as well. Well, thank you for joining me. This is your member Provincial Parliament, Faisal Hassan, and I join you every Saturday from 3 to 4. But today I have joined you at 5 p.m. to 6 today, because I have to attend a conference, which was a very important conference that I needed to be there to also support the community. And now definitely we would like to continue this, but also I want also to maybe switch to Fridays when the house resumes in September. But if you have also, I would welcome your feedbacks there as well. And also we know, folks, many members of our community have been also threatened for eviction, in the middle of a pandemic. And that's a shame. It's unacceptable. And we need a rent control. I know this year, from January 2021 to December 2021, rent control has been frozen. And that's a good news. But we want that to continue next year, so that people can plan and afford their home, their apartments, and it has been hard, folks. People haven't gotten any stimulus, they haven't gotten any support, and people are struggling. And it's a shame that we evict people. Where are they going to go? And I have also experienced homelessness in my teenage years, and I know how difficult it is, to not have a place of your own to live, to come into the night. And that is also difficult. So we have to make sure that we prevent any evictions. We need rent control. And also, we need to ban above guideline increases. And about guideline increases, my colleague from Toronto St. Paul's, Jill Andrew, whom we also invited a town hall meeting to talk about that motion she put at the legislature was also defeated by this government. That's a shame, because above guidelines increases simply passes, the maintenance issues to the tenants. And it should be the responsibility of the landlord to make sure that they maintain good maintenances, in that. But passing that to the rent and applying to the tenant and landlord board above guidelines increases is unacceptable. We need to ban it altogether, especially in the middle of the pandemic and beyond. It's very difficult to simply target tenants, and many of them have lost their jobs, and I understand that these landlords, they are in the business of profit. I understand that, but also when people are in a difficult time, in a pandemic period, global pandemic, it is not right to send people into the streets, folks. And definitely, I have also brought a bill, at the legislature. Housing is human right. It's a human right, and this government has defeated that. It would also provide to give us disparities and inequities in housing that exist. Many people are struggling. It would have given us the Ministry of Housing and Municipalities to have a data equipping to provide the accurate information about the inequities and disparities that exist in housing, and also creating independent housing advocate, to fight on behalf of people to make sure that we have solutions to the problems in the housing. Folks, this problem began in 1994 when the Liberals and John Chrétien and Paul Martin were governing in Canada. They said that housing, they have no business in affordable housing. They don't want to get involved, and they have said that we are going to send this the responsibility of provincial governments. What did Mike Harris, Ernie Eves, Kathleen Wynne, Dalton McGuinty do? Well, they continued downloading to municipalities. Our municipality in Toronto, they're doing their best, but they cannot handle this crisis alone. We need federal government to get involved. We need the provincial government to get involved and make sure that housing is a priority. And downloading it to municipalities is not the solution. The solution is working together, solving those problems. And this is unacceptable. We need to tackle also these flippers and speculators and these billionaires who are taking advantage of everybody in that matter. No one can afford, to rent or to own in Ontario. And that's unacceptable. If this continues, then it will be a real crisis. We have a plan to fix this. And you can check that plan, OntarioNDP.ca. And it is housing plan. If you also put in the search engine, whichever you prefer, you can put it, Ontario NDP housing plan. And there you have it. And if you want to get a copy, I'll be happy to send you, to email you, or you can drop by at the constituency and I'll be able to provide one for you. You can email fhassan-co@ndp.on.ca. Also, you can phone at the constituency office at 416-243-7984. Yep. Folks, we need to fix it, the housing issue. And we have to do it. An NDP government will fix it. We know the problem. I have worked as a frontline worker in housing, preventing homelessness. Those at the risk of homelessness. I know the work that has been done, preventing and also managing the crisis, basically. but it hasn't been for the last 30 years. It hasn't been any concrete, reasonable solution to fix the problem of housing. The waiting list, for example, Toronto alone, there are hundred thousands people waiting for affordable housing, for affordable rent, and that's unacceptable. Everywhere, Niagara Falls, Bill Regent, York Regent, London, Ottawa, you name it. The crisis is everywhere. And we need to fix this to make sure that we have variety of options for people, for renters, people who want to own homes, and people who want to live in cooperative housing, and so on and so on. So that option should be there. And we should also help people to put down payments, and to make sure if they make less than 200,000, we should be able to provide them 10% of those down payment, so they can then, pay it back later, or take it back from the government in that sense later on. And this also will encourage people to own, and also make sure that we have also tackling the flippers and speculators in also in Ontario housing sector. And it has been continuous. We've also have many houses that are empty, owned by foreigners, people who live in overseas, just waiting to flip and make money out of that, investing their money on behalf of somebody investing for them. And that's also something we need to also look into it, to make sure that people who live here can afford, a life. And nowadays I hear also affordable housing, I hear that. I don't know what that definition means. It is not. Now I hear in our community, the Minister of Children and Housing and from federal government came here, and also invited the mayor of Toronto, John Tory, and also the city councillor, Francis Naziara, a project that is needed in the community. The federal government is contributing 35 million, but they're calling it affordable. And we know that we have the experience of John Street, 22 John Street. It is not affordable. And they're saying that the seniors now won't be able to afford it. We know what exactly that means. It has to be elaborated, explained, and tell us exactly what that means. Is it 30% of their income? Is that what they're going to pay? What is it? What does it mean affordable to our members of our community? And this is the questions we have for the Minister of Housing and Children and Communities, and also the Mayor himself, John Terry, and also the City Councillor, who was also a participant there. And it's a fair question, folks. I wasn't invited to as also a member of an elected member, and also a member of the official opposition. I welcome projects in our community, but we want that project, when it's completed, it's affordable and the community can afford it, But it looks like the experience with 22 John Street building here, it is not affordable. We had also many crises. The provincial government also said they're not subject to rent control, so they can also charge as much as they want, continuously. So this is a crisis, folks, and we need transparency, and I haven't been invited, to that announcement by the minister last week here in our community. But they're talking about, they're doing something about affordable housing, but we don't know the details of that. Those seniors, when they move into that building, are they going to pay 30%? What are they going to pay? We have seen the definition of affordable where they reserve only 5 units, and the government giving them 35 million, and those 5 persons or 5 families having that with that amount of money. We need the details of that. So if the entire members of our community, seniors who are going to move there, are going to pay 30%, we will need more clarifications in that. I welcome Mukhtar Hassan, who just joined us, says, yes, really, that's a big problem indeed. housing, and we have been fighting. We have the plan, we have the solution to fix this, and it will require an NDP government in next year, June 2nd. Folks, you have seen the liberals for the last 15 years, and you have seen the last 3 years here, this government, fighting the environment, fighting tenants, fighting every issues that you talk about it. Hopefully, we can talk more about this. Hopefully, next Saturday. Well, that's all the time I have this afternoon. I have joined you from 5 to 6. We've talked many issues, but definitely we'll continue to talk more next week. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for also uh, uh, commenting, sharing your comments, and also joining me. And thank you for this afternoon. And I apologize. I've joined you this afternoon from 5 to 6. Usually I join you from 3 to 4 because this afternoon I had a conference to attend, which is very important for our community. And also I didn't want to cancel it, but I have decided with my team that we're going to join you from 5 to 6. And here I am. Until then, folks, I'll see you again next Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and take care each other. Make sure you also practice social distancing, wash your hands, make sure you look after each other. Okay? Thank you and have a wonderful afternoon.